Hello everybody! Today we are going to make an item as close to reality as possible, a beautiful yellow lily to be more specific, and I really hope you will enjoy the new technique presented here. I have this project in my mind since a long time ago, and today is the day I finally show you how to do it. I previously cut some 2mm strips of paper and I will glue together 15 of them. You will end up with a long strip of paper, but fret not, it's all going to be used. After gluing the strips together, I used the comb with closed teeth to make an eccentric teardrop. The first 11 loops were doubled, meaning I used 2 loops on the same tooth, and on the next 4, I made only 1 loop per tooth, so in total 15 loops. There will be some paper left, so I rolled the rest of it around my eccentric teardrop until it's all used. After that, I apply a layer of glue on my shape and spread it evenly all over, so that it hardens as a whole. This will keep the shape together when I will start adjusting it later. Keep in mind that you must apply a thin enough layer so as to maintain flexibility in your shape. When the glue is hardened a little, I take my tool and I try to round my shape up, creating a more natural look for my petal. This is where you need to pay a bit of attention, as you might end up damaging the petal if you're not careful, and it might be difficult to fix if something happens. Once we're done molding the petals to our desired shape, to give them an even more natural look, I will take some makeup and, using a pinkish orange color, I apply a thin layer on a part of the petal. After that, some black dots too, with a thin permanent marker. For this process to be easier, I took a picture from Google as an example of how I want it to look like. With the petals done, I also made a big tight coil that will serve as my petal support once I will give it a 3D shape. It's the base of the flower on which everything will be glued. Try to make the size according to the size of your petals, because the flower will look a bit weird if they are of different sizes. Now each petal gets a coat of glue on a small part of it and then gets installed in place. Wait a little bit for the glue to dry, because we need the petals to stay in place once we start assembling the flower. Do you remember your biology classes? I made 6 stamens and a pistil from rolled paper, and I glued all of them on top of the petals inside the flower. You should measure the length of them and try to be as natural as possible, but anyway, don't make them bigger than a few centimeters, around 3 in my case. I added some small leaves for the underside of the flower, then I made a tight coil which I shaped into a cone for the flower base. Finally, I added the stem, which is just some fabric covered wire, but it looks the part. And that's it. Hope you liked today's video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a like. In this case and for this type of flower, it's best to use thin strips of paper, 2 or even 3 mm at most. It's easier to bend and shape as you want, because in the case of 5 mm strip shapes, this type of bending is almost impossible. You can also try and develop your own techniques. Maybe you don't like using makeup, but you are proficient with a fine brush and a little paint. You could also consider spraying it with lacquer at the end, or adding a thin layer of glue on it, so you can avoid any damage if you decide to use it as a component of another project. Another thing to consider is using different items you have in your project drawers as the components of the flower. I made my pistil from paper, but you could use something that fits and maybe looks even better. Your imagination is key here, so think of other things you might be able to use. I plan on showing you more tutorials on the topic of realistic flowers, so stay tuned for the next video. Who knows what it will bring. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Take care.